Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving into a pretty radical idea today, that the you think you know isn't really you at all. It's more like a puzzle built from the outside in. And to understand how that works, we have to start with a question that, let's be honest, we've all asked ourselves at some point.
You know that feeling, right? You chase after something, a new job, maybe a relationship, a big personal goal, and you're completely convinced that this is the thing that's going to finally make you feel complete. But then you get it, and the feeling fades. That satisfaction just doesn't last. And before you know it, a new desire pops up to take its place. Well, that endless cycle, that's kind of at the heart of what it means to be human.
So a French psychoanalyst named Jacques Lacan came along with this just revolutionary answer. He said, we've got it all backwards. See, we tend to think our ego, our sense of self, is the pilot, rationally steering the ship of our desires. But Lacan, he proposed something way more startling. He said our ego isn't the pilot at all. It's more like a passenger, one that's actually built by our desires. And, understanding that, well, it changes everything.
To see how this all starts, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning, back to infancy, to this one specific moment of recognition that is also, and this is the weird part, a profound moment of misrecognition. This brings us to what Lacan famously called the mirror stage. So picture an infant. It's just experiencing its own body as this chaotic, uncoordinated jumble of limbs and feelings. But then, for the first time, it sees itself in a mirror. And what it sees isn't chaos. It's a whole, complete, unified image. And the baby is just captivated. It's a, hey, that's me moment. But it's a better me, a more complete me. This image becomes what Lacan called an ideal I, a goal to become. And right there, in that moment, a lifelong and ultimately impossible quest begins, to become that perfect, whole person it sees in the glass.
Lacan actually has a specific French word for this, méconnaissance, which translates to misrecognition. The child joyfully recognizes itself, sure, but it's also fundamentally misrecognizing. It thinks, that's who I am, but it's not. It's an external, idealized picture. And this is the very first time we mistake something outside of ourselves for our true self. It's a crucial illusion that sets the stage for the rest of our lives.
This whole drama of images, of identifying with things, of illusions, it all takes place in what Lacan calls the imaginary order. It's the first dimension of our psyche, a world of fantasies and daydreams, all kicked off by that one powerful moment in front of the mirror.
Okay, but we don't just live in a world of images. To become a functioning person, the developing child has to enter a world that's already up and running, a world full of rules, culture, and most importantly, a world made of words.
Now, to get this next part, we need a quick dive into language. So you have the word tree, that's the signifier. And then you have the actual concept of a tree in your head, that's the signified. Now, most of us think the word just points to the thing, simple as that. But Lacan flips this idea on its head. He argued that the word tree only means something because it's not rock or river or sky. Meaning is created by this whole web of words, a system that's always shifting around.
And this huge, pre-existing web of language, laws, and culture, that's what Lacan called the symbolic order. He also called it the big other. It's like the giant, unwritten rulebook for reality that was here long before we were and will be here long after we're gone. It's the game we are all forced to play.
And here's the kicker. You don't get to choose it. You are just thrown into it. The symbolic order gives you your name, it tells you your role in your family, it gives you a nationality. It basically carves out a spot for you in its network before you even know what any of it means. It fundamentally structures who you are and what you're supposed to desire.
All right, so our reality is made up of the imaginary, our personal world of images, and the symbolic, the shared rules of the game. But what happens when that structure fails? What lies in the cracks of this world we've built for ourselves?
This is where we hit Lacan's third, and definitely most challenging concept. He argued that this reality we construct for ourselves isn't seamless, it's full of holes. There are gaps, glitches, things that simply cannot be captured by images or put into words.
He called this the real, and I gotta be crystal clear here. The real is not reality. In fact, you could say it's the opposite. It's the raw, chaotic, unspeakable stuff that our symbolic reality is built to protect us from. It's that traumatic, terrifying void at the core of existence that language and images can never, ever fully contain.
So, how do we experience it? Well, mostly we don't. We spend our entire lives building up these symbolic walls to keep it out. But sometimes, in moments of extreme trauma or crisis, those walls can crumble.
And we get a horrifying glimpse of that void. The real is what our reality can't explain, and that's precisely why it's the source of our deepest, most profound anxieties.
So, after that whirlwind tour, from a baby in a mirror to the rules of language to the terrifying void beyond it all, what's the big takeaway here? What's the point of all this?
Well, here's how it all fits together. Our psychic life is a constant push and pull between these three registers. You've got the imaginary, which gives us our ego, that idealized self-image. Then the symbolic comes along and plugs us into the shared world of culture and law. And all the while, the real is this constant, unnameable pressure from the outside, the thing our whole psychic structure is built to keep at bay.
Which all leads us to Lacan's most famous, and frankly, most shocking conclusion. It's simple, but it's a bombshell. Your self, your ego, that deep-down feeling of I, it's an other. It doesn't come from inside you. It's built from things outside of you.
Just think of your sense of self like a collage. It's pieced together from that perfect idealized image you first saw in the mirror, and then it's layered over with all the desires and expectations of other people, your parents, your society, all delivered to you through the network of language.
And that leaves us with this final, really provocative question. If your core sense of me is just a mashup of borrowed images, social rules, and what other people want, then who, or maybe what, are you, really? That's the puzzle of the self.